Hi guys, welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to another Premier Division review show. And Cian, we'll have to start off with the tragic news we had last week because we had a bit of bad news. Roy Butler unfortunately lost his life, only 23 years of age. Was part of the Waterford youth setup for a while. I believe he was a massive Waterford fan as well, went to the games home and away. Just tragic stuff, but we saw how the Waterford community rallied behind him as well, which was fantastic. Also, unfortunately, David Conroy lost his life as well, and he was a man that I knew from speaking to quite a bit, actually, to be honest, down in Drogheda, and his son, people might know his son, his young son Alex, who fantastic young fella. He does drugs blog on Instagram. Him and David were they were tied to the hip, to be honest, which is happy-go-lucky. Just really tragic. To be honest, I was devastated when I heard that news, and it shocked me, if I'm honest with you as well. But once again, we saw how the Drogheda community, and players and staff and etc. People would saw images and stuff, just fantastic stuff from them. But look, it's very, very, very tough this week.
Tough week. I think the results go out the window, and I think lovely picture of Gary Deegan holding the young lad at the end of the game there, and he's with the team and all. They're the pictures that matter. And to be honest with you, when it really puts things into perspective, no result, you're fuming over a goal disallowed or something like that, and there's someone at the happening so tragic like that. So it puts things into perspective. But look, just a thought for all the family and friends and everyone connected with the two clubs and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Philip Warner as well sends on his condolences as well. I can tell you one thing about Drogheda, though. They'll look after that young fella. I can guarantee you that. They really will. Moving on to the football then, Cian. I mean, at Oriel Park, it did finish Drogheda 2, Dundalk 1 at Oriel, obviously. And to be honest, I don't think any Dundalk fans could even begrudge Drogheda this win in the circumstances. And I did see a lot of that from Dundalk fans. Fair play to them. Who were almost happy to lose the match, if you get me. But the result itself, it is a great result for Drogheda, isn't it? It moves them up the table, a badly needed win, and Dundalk are ninth on the table then, Cian.
Yeah, look, a massive, massive win. My God, what a performance! They were exceptional in the game. Drogheda came with the game plan, and they didn't change it. They came with their own game plan, and they came and they attacked Dundalk, and they hit them where they hurt them. James Brown again, he's superb. I thought in the game, defensively and offensively. I don't think Michael Duffy really done much or anything in the game. It was excellent, really, really good how Drogheda played. I was very impressed with them. I thought they were well deserving to that late. I know at the end Dundalk got one, and yourself, it's kind of back to the wall a little bit, but that's the way it's going to be. But up until Dundalk scored, they were never in danger. It was just they came. I don't think Dundalk were that bad. I just think Drogheda were very good, and they came with a game plan that frustrated them and got at them. And I think Dundalk are very vulnerable in defence. In my opinion, Drogheda just really they exploited that. They hurt them. They targeted the weaker links in the side, and I think it helped as well that probably the weaker links into Dundalk side was on the right side for the Drogheda players where our better players are. So that didn't really help Dundalk. But now Dundalk were poor from, in my opinion, without being too bad on them, without being too harsh on them, because like I said, Drogheda were excellent. But losing, I would say 2-0, because it was a 2-0 game all the way through. You're losing 2-0 to your nearest rivals. You're not really putting much up against them. And they found themselves ninth in the table today, so it's a bit of a shock. Look, I'm not worried in the slightest for Dundalk. I don't think they will be there, and I'd put my house on it at the minute, to be honest with you, that they won't be in ninth position. And even if they are in ninth position, I fancy them getting out of it either way.
But it's just mental to think they're ninth after 23 games. When you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's madness to think. They're out of Europe now. I think Europe is gone. I can't, even if they win that 2 games in hand, they might do a little huff and puff, but I don't think they'll get anywhere near it. But now that was a big win for Drogheda, especially with Finn Harps winning, and they really, Yeah, Waterford winning as well. So it really puts them in a good position now. In saying that, I say a good position. The table hasn't really changed down there with the three teams winning, so everyone's on the same amount of points. You know what I mean? Everyone's at the gain in three, so that just makes that game that little more important. And that 3 points, that's something they look back on the end of the year, in my opinion. But I think that's enough for Drogheda now. I think they'll, if anyone had any questions of them, probably getting dragged into a battle, I don't think they will.
I think Philip said a few weeks ago, they actually had a lot of balls, and they showed that as well. I think some of their players came back to form. You mentioned Brown, but also Connor Kane was excellent going forward as well, and obviously Doyle grabbed the 2 goals. Doyle's a funny player. He can do nothing in a game sometimes, but then grab you a goal or two. But he has that ability to grab you a goal or two. And that first goal he got was pure determination and obviously quality finish as well.
Like, I honestly, I mean this in the nicest possible way. He's the worst goal scorer I've seen in the league in I don't know how many years. And I mean that now. I don't mean that to be any disrespectful to him or anyone. I really don't. But I think he sums everything up about Drogheda. A hard working team, a working class team. A club based on volunteers, and you have players like that. That wouldn't be the greatest technically, and I don't think he'll disagree with that. And but he'll run through a brick wall for the club. And I think Drogheda about 3 or 4 years ago there when Pete Manton left, and they were in ribbons. They were really bad. And Tim came in a shock appointment because nobody knew who, like, everyone knew the player Tim, nobody knew the coach. And he brought in Kev, who was being the 2 of them just are working fantastic. I think they're up there with Trevor Crowley and Keith Long as a duo. I don't think there's many better duos than that. But the 2 of them are just doing excellent work, and everything off the field at Drogheda is like top notch. And the volunteers, everything about them, and I think that's why this week was tougher than others, because you feel like you lost a brother for them, and that's the way it is. That's how close knit that club is. So they got the win, and I think it's definitely deserved, and I think they have enough now. They'll consolidate that spot now over the coming weeks.
Yeah, Waterford themselves won 4-1 against Longford, and obviously with the tragic news, that was a great result for them as well. But Kavanagh got a brace, Martin got a brace, Williams got one for Longford. It's a great result for Waterford, and they're really picking up a lot of points. It's getting the teams at the bottom are nearly starting to win more than the teams at the top, Keane.
Yeah, look, it's a great win. There's no question about it. But these are the games you expected to win. If you want to be up there, you need to be beating the likes of Longford. You need to be beating the likes of the teams around you, the Finn Harp, and they are doing that. Yeah. So they're getting themselves out. It's still tight. They're still down there. Like, writing off and thinking they're nowhere near. They're gonna fight for Europe, and they're still down there. They're right down there, right in the mix. So it's going to make for a great couple of weeks now, I would say, after. Up until the 36th game, we see how we get on, and I think it'll go right down to the last 3 or 4 days, or 3 or 4 weeks at least in the season. But I think the top of the table now, the top 2 was kind of set. We'll get on to the next results now, but I think then Europe is wide open at the minute, and then the relegation battle is wide open at the minute. So it's really good for the league to see this, and as well, the top. I know. We'll get on to speak about Rovers and stuff like that, and where they are at the top. But I still think there's a title race there, and I think it's great. It's only great for the league. But Waterford battered them in the game. It was relentless stuff from Waterford. Now the penalty, I was like it was in slow motion, wasn't it? Did you see the penalty? Yeah, I don't know what happened. Poor out league, but that's probably only about 4 games this year that Longford got battered in. And the funny thing is, well, it's not funny, but what I'm saying is they're getting beaten against the teams that they're making it tight against the tough teams. Like, they're doing well against Rovers, they're doing well against Pats, they're doing well against Bowes, Sligo and all that. And then you go and you get beaten by Finn Harps really well. You go and get beaten by Waterford really well. So, I don't know what that is. I've no fix for it. I've nothing to say, but it's easier getting up to play Rovers away probably than Waterford, So I don't know what it is.
probably sit back more and that kind of thing as well. I'd say they try to attack the teams around them, obviously. But for Longford, though, like, how do they approach? It's very difficult to talk about them now, isn't it? To be honest, how do they approach the end of the season for you? Like, they're 16 points off Dundalk.
They have to just keep going. They have to keep believing. Like, I'd be looking at videos. I'd be looking at the Limerick team, 2015 would have been. 2014, 2015.
15, I think, was it?
They were gone. I think they won one game out 23, 24. Martin Russell came in and they went on an unbelievable run and missed out in the playoff. I think it was, they played Sligo the last day of the season and I think they were winning and it ended up a draw and they ended up in the playoff. But, you know, it just shows you, though, like, you know, 16 points, it is an awful lot. It is tough. You can't see them winning the game at the minute. But if you get one win, if you get 2 wins and a draw, you know, if you pick up 5 points out of the next 3, you're giving yourself a fighting chance. And that has to be the key. You know, they have to keep their head down. They have to keep going. And I've no doubt they, you know, Dara is a fantastic coach at what he does, like, to bring them from where they were. I know they were kind of there with Neil Fenn, thereabouts in the first division, and then Neil left, and Dara came in. That was a little bit of rebuilding process, and you know, it was such a big club, and he dealt with the pressure very well. Then look, I'm not going to say they got a bit of luck because they definitely deserve to get up this year. The performances they played in last year in the key games and the playoffs and stuff, they were exceptional, and you know, they went on, they came up, they've put a fire up. They have in every game, apart from a couple of games where they were well beaten. So you know, I wouldn't be too down if I was a Longford fan. There's still plenty of positivity around that club, and you know, like I said, if they were to pick up 5 points out the next couple of games or 4 points, even a win and a draw, it just you look at the table, then you see all the L's and a couple of days, and then you see a W and you win, and you know, you're buzzing for the next game and you can't wait to get going again. So, you know, that's the way I'd be looking at it now.
I'm sure they'll keep fighting, though. They're that type of club, to be fair. So just keep fighting till the end. What happens, happens. That's the way it should be. Finished Finn Harps 3, St. Patrick's Leg 1 in Ballybuffet. Tunde with a hat-trick, Forrester with a penalty. Cian, you travelled up to this match as well, so you did. So it wasn't very nice trip home for you. Yeah, I mean, talk about it, I suppose.
Yeah, well, look,
that's 3 wins in the bounce for Harps, to be fair to them as well. We're talking about the teams winning at the bottom, and they seem to do this every year, don't they?
Yeah, look, Harps fully deserved the win. There's absolutely no complaint from me at all. Honestly, no complaints. Look, man up front was unbelievable, wasn't he? He put himself in the shop window. I think there'll be a lot of people watching. You know, you don't watch. I do because I'm a League of Ireland fan. You do, but you don't watch Finn Harps play Longford. You don't watch Finn Harps play probably, you know, Waterford or whatever it is. So the neutrals would be getting out. They would have been watching this, especially it seems if Shamrock Rovers weren't playing and Pats are closest to them. So there'll be a lot of people looking at this game, and he's definitely put himself in the shop window after that performance. He was just lightning quick, and you know, there's times when you just can't defend that. And you really can't. Now, you can try and twig it a little bit and try and move it around a little bit. But, you know, sometimes that's just raw pace and just absolutely.
Finishing, though. It's all right having the raw pace, but the quality of his finishing, even for the third goal, like, you know, he goes around Riaras and, like, you can't blame the keeper there. But he was very cool, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, he was excellent. Even the first goal, the way he cut inside and just, you know, he cut inside, cut in off the right, dropped the shoulder, cut in and just struck it. And you knew the minute left his foot was in the bottom corner. And then, you know, second goal again, he was broke. Now, I'll be honest, second goal I probably thought was about a yard, 2 yards off. Looked dubious now as well. Now we'll get on to the third goal. But, you know, I genuinely think they were fully deserving of it. I'm not going to be too critical on Pats. We went there with a makeshift back four. You know, we went there in the game, and in fairness to Stevie, we played Bermo left centre half. I wasn't working. I don't know why he ended up out on the right, but
yeah, I thought that was a little bit. I probably would have put him left back, to be honest. But anyway,
in fairness to Stevie, he probably thought, we'll get out of this with a draw at half time, and then, we'll regroup and we get them in the dressing room and they score with 2 minutes to go. So, one thing I'll always say about Stevie, and I'll back him 100%, he's not afraid to change things. You see at half time, he made 3 changes. When things aren't going right in the game, when we can see the goal or something, he changes straight away. There's none of this frustrating where you're bringing a player on with 10 minutes to go and you're like, why is he doing it now? It's too late now. He makes the changes. He tries to make things happen. I'm not going to be.
He gives time that there can be an impact. Sometimes there isn't an impact, but he gives enough time that you can make an impact.
Exactly. Look, I'll back them all the way. We've had an off day against Finn Harps, a really bad off day, but we haven't had him in a while. And
how much came obviously the injuries? Mountney, with Benson, Desmond, obviously too. I know it's a stupid question, but how much an effect do they really have on the team? It really shows the effect those players. I think in particular,
Mountney and Desmond is the big ones for me. I'll be honest. I think Ben McCormick was our best midfielder there Friday night. He was filling in for John Mountney, really. Oh, sorry, for filling in for Robbie Benson.
Yeah.
And I thought Ben was probably the best player on the pitch for us at the time. He was making things happen. He was getting on the ball. He was going forward. He was being direct. It wasn't a knife for him. Ben likes to play these nice little passes, and we've seen another side of Ben. We've seen that nasty little dogger style out of him as well in a couple of games, and that was the game. There was no space in that middle of the park. So
that was the one thing Harps done brilliantly, wasn't it, with Coyle and Connolly and players like that in the middle of the park, Seymour. They really, in general, they stopped the flow, any flow, Forrest or Lewis, or even McCormick to a degree, like as you say, from playing as well.
Yeah, look, I thought Alfie had an off day as well. Now, he's not the only one to say there was about 9 of them on the pitch that had an off day. I'm not going to be too critical of Jack making his debut for the club right back. Hasn't played in a couple of months. Got thrown in the deep end with a bleeding lightning pace striker. It's not going to end well, really. But, we got on the pitch. He put a couple of balls into the box, attacking wise. We are kind of targeting the far post a lot with them. He put a ball in. He has a whip about him. He's good going forward. We will be seeing better. We will be seeing more from him, I've no doubt, in a number of weeks coming up. But, I just, like I said with Stevie there, he's not afraid to throw players in. He's not afraid to change things. And, I do think Pats are, I'd like to say, second now, and I can't see us leaving that position. And, if it overs, it's going to be a big ask for them. But if they were to get through and stuff like that, the league title is wide open again, in my opinion. And, Pats will definitely go for it. But I know Rovers have a game in hand and stuff like that, a couple of games in hand now. But they're against Bowls, and they're tough games. So I don't think Anthony's won yet. Pats is going to keep going. We have the cup to look forward to next week. Hopefully we can get through the round, and I think it's positive for Pats. I know it was an off day, but I couldn't tell you the last off day Pats have had that we didn't come away with at least a point. So you'd be happy enough with that, in my opinion. You can take that. It's not happening every week. It's not happening.
Exactly. If it's not happening the week after and the week after, exactly. You're right. No, you're right. Yeah, it's a superb win. As I said, superb win for Harps, and 3 wins at the bounce after a rotten run. Typical Ollie Horgan, but well done to Finn Harps. Finished Sligo 1, Derry 2, and I think you're alluding that you think Pats will definitely say finish second. And that's a lot to do with this result, to be fair, because Sligo 7 defeats in a row, not all league. I think it's 4 in the league, but still. Kenny scoring for them. Thompson with a great goal. Boyce, by the way, 6th goal of the season for a right back. He's been very good. Only 18 years of age, Keane. Excellent young player. Another bad result for Sligo, and it really tightens up Europe there because Derry are back in the mix, aren't they?
Yeah, it's great for the neutrals. Look at Europe, it's wide open now. That 3rd spot is anyone's. That 4th spot is anyone's. And I think, to be honest with you, anyone that finishes 5th is going to kick themselves this year. Because I think it's wide open. Whoever wants it has to grab it by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah.
Sligo, Derry's first goal was a crack on now, in fairness. But, you have to close them down. You have to close them down. That's my thing. They probably weren't ready for it. Look, you're expecting them to hit it directly from the dead ball. It was rolled out. before you know it was in the back of the net, a frenzy
You have
drill.
to be switched on there, though, don't
Yeah.
you, as well? Expect that.
Yeah, so, they went 1-0 up. Then Sligo had a little bit of a spell, nothing too major in the game, though. And now I think Johnny Doug Lewis banks out of a hole here. Louis should have scored that goal. There's no question about it. And it came to Johnny, and he took it into the net just about. And they're going 1-1, and you're saying, right, don't lose. This is a massive game for Sligo. Do not lose the game, because then you're not gaining any ground, or you're not losing any ground on Derry. And they didn't look like scored in the second half. It was patient play. It was
puff stuff, yeah.
Yeah, there was nothing too major about it. And then I was looking at Derry, and they're having a couple of chances here and there, and I think a draw probably was a fair result on the game. And then Derry got down with a couple of minutes to go and stick one in the net. That you have to stop that cross first of all. You have to stop that ball in there, and then the defending in there wasn't great either to let them put it in the net. I'd be fuming if I was Sligo to lose that game. I don't think Derry were great. A draw, like I said, if both teams get out with a draw, I'd say they'd be happy with that. So, I'd say to myself, Pats have second now. Third is wide open. And, I don't know. I've no words for Sligo.
I was just going to say, Greg Bulger, it's a huge loss to them as well. And I know one player and all that kind of thing, but he really is. There's a massive hole in midfield when he's not there, isn't there?
Yeah, of course. Look, he's probably the best centre defensive midfielder to grace the league. And we're missing key players like that. Missing players like Greg Bulger in your team. You lose your doggedness. You lose your you don't have that. You don't have that constant voice on the pitch. You don't have that leader in the dressing room. It's a big loss for them. The sooner the better they get them sorted and get them back on that pitch, I think, for Sligo's sake. Because at this minute in time, you can see them slipping out of Europe.
Yeah, definitely, and that's not going to help their confidence the way they lost it as well. Guys, we'll leave it there. Please subscribe, hit your bell notification button so you don't miss a video, and let us know what you think of the results in the comments. Cheers, guys.